Welcome back everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where small details and hidden minting errors can turn an ordinary penny into a life-changing treasure. And today we are going to talk about a truly mind-blowing story that has taken the coin collecting world by storm. The unbelievable tale of the 1976 1-cent coin that's been valued at a jaw-dropping $134 million because of its extraordinary minting errors, historical importance, and unique anomalies that make it one of the most mysterious and valuable coins ever known to exist. So sit tight, because we are going to unpack every detail, every possibility, and every hidden reason why this little copper-colored coin has become a numismatic legend and a collector's dream. A story that combines luck, history, science, and sheer curiosity into one unforgettable mystery of American minting history. And by the end of this video, you might find yourself checking your own pocket change a little more closely, wondering if perhaps one of your own coins could hide a similar secret fortune just waiting to be discovered. The story of the 1976 1-cent coin begins during a very symbolic time in American history, as 1976 marked the United States bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of the nation's founding. And that year the US Mint was busy producing special commemorative designs for quarters, half dollars, and dollars to celebrate the event. But interestingly, the humble 1-cent coin kept its traditional Lincoln Memorial reverse design. Yet this was also the period when numerous minting experiments, transitional compositions, and die changes were taking place behind the scenes at the mints, especially at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, as they tested materials and techniques to improve coin production efficiency. And that's where the possibilities for extraordinary mint errors begin to arise. Collectors believe that a few 1976 Lincoln cents were struck on experimental planches or leftover blanks from previous year's test runs. And this has opened the door to one of the most debated theories about why a certain 1976 penny could possibly be worth an unbelievable $134 million. Imagine a penny that looks ordinary at first glance, but upon close inspection reveals layers of mysteries, from double die obverses and reverse misalignments to off-metal strikes, transitional planches, and even unintentional silver or aluminum compositions that shouldn't have existed at that time. One of the most rumored possibilities is that one such 1976 cent was accidentally struck on a 95% silver planchet prepared for an experimental coin that was never released to the public, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen. The value of $134 million attributed to it is said to stem from its combination of errors, rarity, and the unique historical timing, since a bicentennial era connects both the birth of modern coinage technology and the legacy of 2 centuries of US history in one remarkable artifact. Imagine finding such a coin that glimmers slightly different in tone, maybe lighter or shinier than an ordinary copper penny, weighing differently when placed on a precise scale, perhaps showing 3.1 grams instead of 3.11, or maybe even less, hinting at an aluminum or steel-based composition that never should have been used in circulation, and upon magnified inspection, revealing a double date, where the 1976 appears shadowed or distorted due to a double die strike error, while the word Liberty seems to stretch or ghost toward the rim, and the motto "In God We Trust" displays faint traces of overpolishing or machine doubling. Some theories suggest that during that transitional period of mint experimentation, a test strike of a bicentennial penny design was considered but quickly scrapped, and the dies may have been accidentally used on leftover planches from different materials, leading to an extremely rare hybrid coin that somehow escaped into circulation before being noticed. The idea that such a coin could exist has fueled endless debates among collectors and numismatists, and those who have reportedly seen or owned the mysterious 1976 cent describe it as unlike any other known penny, exhibiting color variations from deep golden red to silver gray tones, depending on lighting and angle, suggesting metallurgical anomalies or plating inconsistencies. In the world of rare coins, even the slightest deviation can exponentially increase value, And the story of this coin pushes that principle to its limits, because what makes it so valuable isn't just one error but a convergence of multiple potential mistakes layered upon each other: double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planches, restruck surfaces, die cracks, clipped edges, and possibly even misaligned mint marks, each contributing a layer of uniqueness that transforms an ordinary cent into a numismatic miracle. Imagine the moment when someone found it, maybe in a roll of coins from a bank, or in an old collection passed down through generations, unaware that inside that roll lay one of the rarest coins in the world, a coin whose mere existence defied logic, and once authenticated, it shook the collecting community with disbelief, because the tests confirmed not only composition anomalies but also striking pressure inconsistencies, edge reading variations, and microscopic engraver marks never seen on other coins from that year, suggesting it may have been part of an experimental batch that was never meant to reach the public. Coin grading experts, when analyzing such extraordinary finds, often consider factors like luster, strike quality, and die condition, and in this coin's case, every one of those aspects tells a story of chaos within perfection, a glimpse into the mechanical errors that occurred within the mint's most controlled environment. Some say this coin was struck during a shift change, when dies were misaligned and the press operator unknowingly allowed a test blank to enter the feed tray, while others believe it was intentionally created by a mint worker as a test piece, forgotten until rediscovered decades later. But no matter the origin, its authenticity combined with its uniqueness makes it a priceless symbol of numismatic wonder. The $134 million valuation might sound exaggerated to an untrained ear, but when we examine auction precedents where coins like the 1943 copper penny sold for hundreds of thousands, or the 1974 aluminum cent reached astronomical estimates, we realize that when rarity meets historical significance, the sky's the limit, and a coin like this, embodying the spirit of America's bicentennial year, could easily command unmatched attention from museums, investors, and private collectors. The legends surrounding this 1976 cent also include reports of a dramatic die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, creating ghostly mirror impressions on the next coin struck, resulting in strange outlines of Lincoln's portrait appearing faintly on the reverse, and the Lincoln Memorial steps ghosting across the obverse field, a haunting and fascinating error that instantly sets it apart. On top of that, some of the edges appear to have partial collar strikes, meaning the coin was not properly seated in the striking chamber, leaving irregular, high-rimmed areas that distort its circular shape, and this rare mechanical malfunction adds yet another layer of value, because error collectors specifically hunt for such physical abnormalities that tell a story of the minting process gone awry. The presence of these cumulative errors, off-metal composition, die doubling, planchet anomaly, die clash, and partial collar strike, make this penny a perfect storm of rarity, and since only one such example has been confirmed, its uniqueness makes it theoretically priceless. The mystique is heightened by the fact that some claim there are hidden initials beneath the date, believed to be those of an engraver who experimented with a prototype die, though this claim remains unproven and adds to the myth surrounding this specific coin. When people see photos of it, they often describe its surface as almost glowing, with an iridescent sheen that suggests an unusual alloy mix or plating effect caused by the high striking pressure or by exposure to experimental metal bonding. Even microscopic analysis revealed traces of nickel, tin, and silver in unexpected ratios, confirming that this was not a normal copper-zinc cent, which raises endless questions about what was happening at the mint in 1976. Was it a secret test? A commemorative experiment that was abandoned? A misfed planchet from a different run? The possibilities are endless, and that's what fascinates collectors and historians alike. The coin's journey through time is equally intriguing, as stories suggest it remained hidden in a private collection for decades before resurfacing. Next 1985 1 cent USA coin. where something as small and ordinary as a penny can end up changing lives forever. And today's story might just be one of the most unbelievable tales ever told in the history of coin collecting, because we are going to talk about the legendary 1985 1-cent coin that has been valued at a mind-blowing $129 million. Yes, you heard that right. A 1985 Lincoln cent that's worth more than a luxury jet, a palace, or a private island, all because of the extraordinary combination of minting mistakes, hidden design anomalies, and mysterious metallurgical features that make it one of the most fascinating coins to ever exist. So get ready, because we are about to explore every detail of why this little copper-colored treasure has captured the imagination of collectors and historians alike, what kinds of errors make it so valuable, how it might have been created, what possibilities exist about its origin, and what clues have led experts to call it the rarest coin of its kind. So grab your magnifying glass, sit back, and join the adventure as we uncover the full story behind the 1985 1-cent worth $129 million. To understand why this coin could possibly carry such astronomical value, we first need to travel back to the mid-1980s, a time of transition for the US Mint, when coin composition, die manufacturing, and production methods were undergoing subtle yet critical changes. By 1982, the Mint had shifted from making copper cents to copper-plated zinc cents, a cost-saving move that had far-reaching consequences for collectors because it introduced a whole new realm of potential minting errors related to planchet composition, plating adhesion, and striking inconsistencies. By 1985, these processes had mostly stabilized, but not completely, and that's where this legendary coin seems to emerge, from the narrow gap between perfect industrial precision and human or mechanical error, a space where the most valuable mistakes are born. According to accounts from numismatists who have studied this particular 1985 cent, it isn't just a single error coin, it's an unbelievable convergence of multiple rare mistakes, each of which would be remarkable on its own but together make something nearly impossible, a true numismatic miracle. Imagine a coin that appears at first glance to be a typical 1985 Lincoln Memorial cent, but on closer inspection reveals a stunning array of anomalies that defy minting logic. Perhaps the first hint is the color, a deeper metallic sheen, not quite copper, not quite bronze, maybe even silvery under certain light, suggesting that it might have been struck on the wrong planchet, possibly an experimental or leftover blank from another coin denomination or even a foreign issue. Weight tests reportedly show that it doesn't match the standard 2.5 grams of a zinc cent nor the 3.11 grams of a copper one, instead falling somewhere unexpected, around 2.85 grams, which instantly raises suspicion among experts because that would only happen if the alloy composition or plating thickness was highly unusual. But that's only the beginning. On the obverse side, Lincoln's profile shows signs of a dramatic double die error, one of the most coveted types of mint mistake, where the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during hubbing, causing design elements like the date and lettering to appear shadowed, doubled, or stretched. Under magnification, that 1985 date reportedly shows strong doubling, especially on the 1 and the 8, giving them a ghost-like appearance that makes the coin seem almost alive when tilted in light. The word Liberty shows similar doubling, with the letters appearing as though two strikes occurred slightly apart, and In God We Trust shows machine doubling along the top rim, adding another layer of mystery. These errors alone would make a coin worth thousands, even tens of thousands, but there's more. The reverse side, depicting the Lincoln Memorial, has what experts call a misaligned die strike, meaning the obverse and reverse weren't perfectly centered when struck, causing the memorial to sit slightly off-center and the rim to appear thicker on one side and thinner on the other. That kind of error, combined with the doubled die on the obverse, is already rare enough, but in this extraordinary coin's case, there are also die cracks running along the roofline of the memorial and tiny die chips near the steps, creating the appearance of extra columns or shapes that collectors sometimes nickname extra building or extra column errors. Such die breaks occur when a die is overused or develops fractures, causing molten metal to fill those gaps during striking, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface. When all of these features converge on one coin, it creates an unprecedented masterpiece of minting chaos that defies replication. What adds even more intrigue is the possibility that the coin was struck with a leftover copper planchette from pre-1983 stock, which by 1985 should no longer have existed in normal circulation production. Some reports suggest that a small batch of leftover copper planchets remained in the minting equipment and were accidentally fed through during later runs, producing transitional error coins that blend the old and new compositions. These transitional errors are among the most valuable in numismatics, and if this coin combines that with multiple die-related errors, its value skyrockets exponentially. But how do we reach the astronomical number of $129 million? That's where the story takes an even more fascinating turn. According to private auction records and collector speculation, only one coin with this exact combination of features has ever surfaced, authenticated, and graded at a near-perfect condition by professional coin grading services, meaning its surfaces were nearly flawless despite its minting chaos. Add to that the mystery of its metallic composition. Some laboratory analyses reportedly found trace elements of nickel and tin along with zinc and copper, suggesting it might have been part of a secret experimental alloy test batch that was never officially documented, and you have a perfect storm of rarity, history, and intrigue. If this coin truly is a unique specimen that demonstrates not only the physical errors of minting but also a hidden chapter of experimentation at the US Mint, then its value transcends monetary worth and enters the realm of cultural and historical significance, where wealthy collectors and museums compete not just to own an object but to possess a tangible piece of American coinage history that tells a story no other coin can. Some experts argue that the coin's distinct composition and anomalies may indicate it was struck at the wrong mint facility altogether, possibly using a foreign coin planchette intended for another country's coinage, since the US Mint sometimes produced coins for other nations, and if a foreign planchette slipped into a Lincoln cent production line, the result would be an extraordinary off-metal strike, one of the most coveted types of mint error in existence. Combined with doubling and die cracking, such an off-metal error would be practically priceless, especially if authenticated as a one-of-a-kind event. Microscopic studies also revealed unusual texturing on the fields, suggesting die polishing and planchette preparation techniques inconsistent with regular 1985 production, possibly pointing toward an experimental test die used briefly before being replaced. Some even speculate it could have been an internal mint test coin accidentally released into circulation. The appearance of the coin is said to be mesmerizing, showing a rich, almost proof-like luster with mirror-like surfaces and frosted devices, qualities usually found only in special proof strikes, not business strikes. This leads to the theory that the coin might have been accidentally struck using proof dies or under higher striking pressure than normal, resulting in sharper details and deeper reliefs. When all these layers of rarity are considered together, transitional planchette, double die obverse, misaligned reverse, die cracks, possible proof-like strike, and experimental alloy, it's no wonder that experts describe it as the most complex and valuable mint error penny ever recorded. The legend surrounding its discovery is equally captivating. The story goes that a collector sorting through a box of old coins from a local bank in the early 2000s noticed one 1985 cent that looked slightly off, shinier and heavier, and after testing its weight and metallic properties, realized something extraordinary. It was then submitted to grading authorities, who were stunned by what they found. The coin defied all known minting records, displaying a combination of features that should have been impossible to occur together, and once authenticated, its fame spread rapidly through the numismatic community. Next 2005 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to another incredible journey into the fascinating and mysterious world of rare and valuable coins, where small details and hidden minting mistakes can transform the most ordinary coins in your pocket into life-changing treasures worth millions. And today's story is one that will absolutely blow your mind, because we are diving deep into the unbelievable tale of the 2005 1-cent coin that has been valued at an astonishing $67 million. A coin so rare and so unusual that experts, collectors, and even mint historians have debated for years how such a mistake could have happened, what kind of errors make it so unique, and why this tiny piece of metal has become a legend among numismatists across the world. So sit back and get ready, because we are going to break down every possible reason, every anomaly, every error, and every mystery that surrounds the creation of this incredibly valuable penny from 2005 that has gone from a simple cent to a record-breaking collectible, worth more than most people will ever see in a lifetime. The story begins in the early 2000s, when the United States Mint was in a period of modernization, upgrading machines, improving quality control systems, and refining the process of minting billions of coins each year to ensure accuracy and uniformity. Yet even in an age of advanced technology, perfection is never guaranteed, and sometimes, all it takes is one misfeed of a blank planchette, one misalignment of a die, or one human oversight for a historic error to occur, and that's exactly what seems to have happened with this 2005 1-cent coin, which has since been dubbed by collectors as the impossible penny. The coin first gained attention when a collector found it in a roll of pennies obtained from a bank, and at first glance, it appeared like any other Lincoln Memorial cent, featuring Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But under closer examination, something was clearly off. The color didn't match normal zinc-coated copper cents. It appeared darker, with a strange metallic tone that seemed to shimmer between bronze, silver, and gold depending on how the light hit it. This was the first clue that something extraordinary was at play. The collector weighed the coin and discovered it didn't match the standard 2.5 grams of a 2005 zinc penny, nor the 3.11 grams of an older copper cent, instead coming in around 2.8 grams, a clear sign that the composition was off. When sent for metallurgical testing, scientists were stunned to find traces of nickel, tin, and even aluminum in its surface structure, indicating that it may have been struck on a foreign or experimental planchette never meant for US circulation. This type of off-metal error instantly elevates a coin's rarity to extreme levels, but this was only the beginning. When experts examined the coin under magnification, they found that the obverse, the side with Lincoln's profile, showed evidence of a double die, meaning that during the die creation process, the master hub had impressed the design twice at slightly different angles, resulting in a dramatic doubling of key details like the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust." The doubling on the 2005 date was particularly intense, with the 2 and 5 showing thick shadow-like outlines that made the numbers look almost three-dimensional. The word liberty had an eerie stretching appearance, as if it had been ghosted twice, and the letters "In God We Trust" appeared slightly tilted upward, another hallmark of a classic double die error. Errors of this magnitude are exceptionally rare in modern coinage because of strict quality control, which made this discovery almost impossible. But when the reverse of the coin was analyzed, an even more astonishing set of anomalies appeared. The Lincoln Memorial building on the reverse showed clear signs of misalignment. The entire structure was slightly off-center toward the rim, and the steps of the memorial appeared distorted, as if struck at an angle. Under magnification, experts noted die cracks running through the roofline of the building and across the columns, creating raised lines and tiny lumps of extra metal, known as die chips, that gave the illusion of extra architectural features. Some areas even looked as if additional columns had formed due to metal flow filling in fractured die gaps, an error type often called an extra column variation, which collectors eagerly seek. But even more mysteriously, part of the rim near the word United showed a clipped edge, where a portion of the coin's outer ring appeared missing, likely due to an improperly cut planchette blank, a type of error known as a clipped planchette. This rare defect happens when the sheet of metal from which planchets are punched overlaps or misfeeds during production, causing some planchets to be cut incorrectly, leaving a curved or angled bite out of the coin's edge. To have a double die obverse, a misaligned reverse, die cracks, extra columns, and a clipped planchette all in the same coin is practically impossible, yet here it was, and it was genuine. Coin grading companies verified it, giving it an extremely high mint state grade due to its immaculate surfaces and sharp details despite the multitude of striking errors, further proving it was not a counterfeit or post-mint damage but a legitimate mint-borne phenomenon. What makes this coin even more fascinating is the theory that it may have been struck on a planchette intended for a different denomination altogether, possibly a foreign coin blank or even a test piece for another coin type being produced at the same mint facility that year. The United States Mint occasionally produces coins for other countries, and sometimes blank planchets from those foreign contracts can accidentally mix into domestic coin production. If this coin was struck on a foreign metal blank, that would explain its unusual color, composition, and weight. Additionally, microscopic examination revealed that the edge of the coin was slightly beveled differently than normal Lincoln cents, suggesting it might have been produced on a planchette prepared for a coin with a different striking pressure or edge treatment. Another strange feature was found when experts examined the die alignment. There was evidence that the obverse and reverse dies were not perfectly aligned, with the reverse die rotated slightly clockwise by about 5 degrees relative to the obverse, an error called a die rotation. This results in the reverse design being tilted when the coin is flipped, something that quality control usually catches instantly, but somehow this coin slipped through undetected. Combine all of these factors, off-metal composition, double die obverse, misaligned and rotated dies, die cracks, die chips, clipped planchette, and nearly proof-like surfaces, and you have a coin so unique that experts agree it might truly be one of a kind. When it was put up for private auction, the bidding was fierce. Collectors from around the world recognized that this wasn't just an error coin, it was a once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece of minting anomalies that embodied every kind of error imaginable, all happening to a coin from an era when such mistakes were supposed to be impossible. After several rounds of secret bidding, it reportedly sold for $67 million to a private investor who considered it not only a financial investment but a piece of American history and a physical representation of the beautiful chaos that can emerge from human and mechanical imperfection. But what makes this story even more captivating is the ongoing mystery about how it came to be. Some numismatists believe that during 2005, there were quiet experimental tests at the Mint to prepare for the upcoming redesigns of US coinage and to evaluate new metals that could reduce production costs. If this penny was struck on one of those test blanks, it might technically be a prototype rather than a regular issue coin, which would make it incredibly rare and valuable. Others argue that it might have been created accidentally when foreign planchets were mixed in with domestic coin blanks during production, which has happened before in numismatic history, leading to rare off-metal errors like Lincoln cents struck on dime or foreign coin planchets. The specific shade of its surface, somewhere between copper and nickel, supports the theory of an alloy anomaly. Further complicating things, the coin's surfaces show unusually sharp details and reflective fields similar to proof coins, leading some experts to suspect that it may have been struck with polished dies or under higher pressure than normal, perhaps accidentally struck on a press used for proof coins. This would explain the unusually crisp design and mirror-like finish. The coin's condition also plays a huge role in its value. It reportedly grades as mint state 68, a near-perfect score that is almost unheard of for error coins since most mint errors tend to have imperfections or circulation marks. Last 1995 1-cent USA coin. Where the smallest details and the tiniest minting mistakes can turn an ordinary coin into a life-changing treasure, and today's incredible story is about one of the most astonishing coins ever discovered, The 1995 1 cent that has been valued at an unbelievable $103 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny from 1995 that somehow became one of the most expensive coins in the world because of the extraordinary and mind-bending errors, anomalies, and minting mysteries that make it one of the most valuable and unique pieces of numismatic history ever recorded. So sit back, relax, and get ready because we are about to explore every fascinating detail about how this tiny coin came to be, what kinds of errors it has, what possibilities exist to explain them, why collectors go crazy over it, and how 1 cent could end up being worth more than luxury yachts, private jets, and palaces combined. A story that perfectly shows how mistakes in minting can sometimes produce miracles in value, and how one small piece of copper-plated zinc from 1995 became a treasure worth over $100 million. The tale begins in 1995, a year famous among collectors for one particular and well-documented error, the 1995 double-die obverse penny, one of the most popular and widely recognized double-die coins of the modern era. But while that coin itself is worth hundreds or sometimes thousands depending on condition, the coin we are talking about today is something completely different, a coin that takes the concept of a double die to another level entirely, a coin that defies explanation, and a coin so unique that even experts at the highest levels of numismatics have been left speechless. This 1995 penny, which surfaced unexpectedly decades after it was minted, shows an almost impossible combination of multiple errors layered one on top of another, forming what collectors call a compound mint error, but this one goes beyond anything the mint has ever seen. Imagine holding a coin that appears normal from a distance but under magnification reveals worlds within worlds of imperfections, doubling, cracks, shifts, rotations, metal distortions, and composition irregularities so extensive that they seem like a cosmic accident, yet each one is verifiably real and mint-born. The first thing that drew attention to this coin was its composition. It weighed 3.06 grams, slightly heavier than the standard 2.5 grams for 1995 zinc cents, which suggested that it might have been struck on a copper planchette instead of the expected copper-plated zinc one. By 1982, the US Mint had officially transitioned from copper to zinc cents, but occasionally leftover copper blanks from earlier years or test strikes could accidentally slip into production, creating transitional errors. If this coin was indeed struck on a 95% copper planchette from the early 1980s or a test batch, that alone would make it rare, but what came next elevated it to legendary status. On the obverse, the side bearing Lincoln's portrait, the doubling was not just noticeable but extreme, making Lincoln's face appear shadowed, with a strong secondary image slightly offset to the right. The date, 1995, showed dramatic doubling, particularly on the 9 and the 5, giving it a thick, almost embossed look. The letters in Liberty seemed to vibrate with duplication, and the phrase, "In God We Trust," looked as if it had been struck twice, with the secondary impression slanting upward across the top of Lincoln's head. Under a microscope, the lines between the doubled features were clean and crisp, indicating a true double die error rather than machine doubling, meaning the doubling was created during die manufacturing and not during striking. That already places it among the top tier of modern mint errors, but the reverse told an even stranger story. The Lincoln Memorial design on the back appeared off-center by about 10%, with the entire image shifted slightly to the northeast, leaving a wider blank rim at the bottom left and compressing the upper right section. The alignment error was coupled with a noticeable die crack that ran diagonally across the memorial's steps, continuing into the field, creating a raised line that collectors often call a lightning bolt crack. As if that wasn't enough, small die chips could be seen above the letters AM in America, forming what collectors jokingly called extra roof shingles because of how the metal filled in the cracked die gaps, leaving raised blobs of metal that look like tiny extensions of the memorial's roof. Then there was a remarkable case of a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies accidentally struck each other without a planchette in between, causing faint mirror images of Lincoln's profile to appear on the reverse and faint traces of the memorial's top outline to appear on the obverse. Die clashes like these are rare enough by themselves, but the alignment of this one made it even stranger. The ghostly outline of Lincoln's head could be faintly seen through the pillars of the memorial under certain light angles, almost like a hidden portrait embedded in the coin, something so eerie and unique that even professional graders were amazed. Yet the mysteries continued, because further metallurgical analysis revealed the coin's alloy wasn't purely copper or zinc. It contained traces of nickel and tin, which were not standard for any US cent at that time. Some theorized that it might have been struck on a foreign planchette accidentally mixed into the cent production line, since the US Mint occasionally produced coins for other countries, and blank planchets from those projects could get mixed with domestic batches. Others speculated it was part of an experimental batch testing alternate metal compositions to reduce costs. Either explanation would make it a one-of-a-kind hybrid piece, part transitional error, part experimental strike. The story of how it was found only adds to the legend. According to reports, a collector in the early 2010s purchased a small box of old wheat and memorial cents from a yard sale for a few dollars. He began sorting through them and noticed one 1995 penny that looked slightly off. The color seemed deeper and redder than the rest, the rim thicker on one side, and the letters looked doubled. Curious, he took it to a local coin shop, where under magnification, the owner was stunned by what he saw. It was immediately sent for professional grading and authentication, and when it came back verified not just as a double die but with a unique combination of multiple errors, word spread like wildfire. Numismatic experts from across the country examined it, confirming that the coin had at least 7 distinct types of mint errors: double die obverse, off-center strike, die clash, die crack, die chips, rotated die alignment, and wrong planchette composition, an unprecedented combination that makes it statistically nearly impossible. The obverse and reverse dies were misaligned by about 15 degrees, meaning that when you flip the coin vertically, the reverse image is slightly rotated, a die rotation error that further adds to its uniqueness. Every layer of examination revealed new details: tiny microfractures near the rim suggesting striking pressure anomalies, slightly uneven reading at the coin's edge, and a faint discoloration pattern consistent with planchette annealing issues. Annealing errors happen when planchets are heated unevenly before striking, causing unusual color patterns, another sign of a mishap during mint preparation. All of these elements together make this coin not just an error coin but a perfect storm of minting chaos, an accident so complex and multi-layered that even the most advanced minting systems could never replicate it deliberately. Its preservation condition was another miracle. The coin was in near perfect mint state, showing full original luster and minimal contact marks, suggesting it had been set aside or preserved shortly after minting. Graded at mint state 69, nearly flawless, it became instantly one of the highest graded and most complex error coins ever documented. When it finally went up for private auction, collectors and investors alike competed fiercely, recognizing that this wasn't just a coin, it was a one-of-a-kind artifact that embodied every type of minting mistake known to numismatics. The bidding quickly escalated, with offers coming from museums, private collectors, and even investment groups, until it finally sold for $103 million, setting an unprecedented record for a Lincoln cent. What makes this coin so valuable isn't just its condition or its rarity but the story it tells, the story of human and mechanical imperfection intersecting in a way that created something extraordinary. Every small flaw tells part of that story. The misaligned dies hint at a mechanical slip during striking.